This is this one might destroy my voice for the day. So it may surprise you to be informed that the Conservative Party is a fuck up when it comes to running a country. I know, I was just as shocked as anyone. But there was a recent post, and it doesn't label everything, but it does label 48 points of recent cock-ups from this government. Now, I'm not going to go through this to say, haha, Conservatives suck. It is purely because I keep hearing from people, no, the government is doing the best they can. They're not, though. And while a lot of these programs sound good, the reason why they failed is because they've not been thought out. If you're doing the best you can, you actually sit down and you think about a problem. That's not what this government is doing. So, let's get it started. Number 1, government launched Fix Your Bike voucher website. It broke in less than an hour. That's whoops. The government said we should all lose weight. The government is still issuing vouchers to help us buy burgers and cheap takeaway. It was released. The government spent 400 million buying a bankrupt satellite company, OneWeb, to replace the EU GPS system we lose due to Brexit. Side note, we didn't have to lose it. We didn't have to lose it. When people like myself put out video after video saying this could happen, this could happen, it's a worst case scenario, but we haven't got a competent government, this was not one of the things that we had to bloody lose. This is Boris Johnson, the isolationist, forcing us out of it. That's 400 million. They don't ever get to say, oh, we don't have enough for education, we don't have enough for the NHS, we don't have enough to pay pensioners. Today, OAPs, people over 75, now have to pay a TV licence. That didn't need to happen, but Boris Johnson, Dominic Raab, just spent 400 million, just gave that money away on a satellite system that isn't even the right fucking satellites, because amazingly satellites aren't universal. What a fuck up. Months before, a study by MIT found that OneWeb's tech is 6 times less efficient than the EU solution. The worst of the technologies studies. Wow, Jesus Christ. In June, the government merged the Department for International Development into Foreign Office and said the move guaranteed there would be no cuts in international aid. This week, government cut international aid by 2.9 billion. And the government quietly granted permission for your health records to be given to Palanta, a controversial data mining company said to have worked with Cambridge Analytica on Brexit. I know a lot of Brexiteers don't care about Cambridge Analytica, but essentially what they did was they took all of your information and they put forward adverts to fuck with your head. They made you believe bullshit by using all of your private information. This is important because now the same people who made you believe in bullshit conspiracies now have your medical data. Imagine what they'll do with that. It did both of these things the day Parliament broke up, so there couldn't be any questions. Brilliant. Love our democracy. But in answer to questions about the Russian report, the government's suggested solution is, I'm not making this up, to ask Russia to tell us who the spies are. Yes! The government is asking Russia, hey buddy, who have you got spying on us? Fucking incompetent. Ex-Russian intelligence staff say 85% of their work is not spying, but political funding and misinformation. Which brings us to funding and misinformation news. Since 2012, the Tory party has had almost 3 million in donations from members of Putin's cabinet. 14 current government ministers have received donations from individuals or companies connected with Russian leadership. Piri Patel said the Russian report could be ignored because it was now 9 months old and out of date. The Russian report that said, hey, we are wide open to attacks, we're being fucked with, but it's okay, because the Home Secretary said, it's out of date. It's out of date, fuck off. The government delays the release of the report for 9 months, and the reasons given were described as simply not true, aka misinformation by the Intelligence Committee. So essentially the government is saying we can't trust British intelligence agencies. Trump's done a similar thing, and now you have plainclothes officers throwing peaceful protesters in unmarked cars. Nothing can possibly go wrong. Now COVID news. Matt Hancock boasted he had met the target on his 6 tests on COVID-19. Full fact found 4 out of 6 targets were missed. 1 target couldn't be met because it never had been defined, and 1, quote, relied on definition that does not reflect practice, end quote. The Cross-Party Media and Culture Committee found that the government's support for arts was vague and slow coming and jeopardised UK culture. The Cross-Party Public Account Committee found that these were astonishing failures to plan for the economic impact of COVID-19. Just as a side note, we knew something like this was going to happen, and it was ignored. There was a mock test done a little while ago, but it wasn't done on all counts. It was done in one specific area, which makes no sense, realistically speaking, but yeah, this government doesn't give a fuck. It also said that the policies of discharging patients into care home was reckless and appalling policy error. It wasn't really an error, it was a massive fuck up because the government doesn't care if you live or die. Stop voting Conservative. It called the government slow, inconsistent and negligent. Absolutely true. The chair of the committee said a competent government does not run a country on the hoof. I love that saying, but that's exactly what they've done. Boris has not responded to the virus, he's not responded to experts, he's responded to what right-wing media has criticised him for. That's it. If he had responded to experts, we would not be in the shit show that we're in right now, and we certainly wouldn't be the worst hit in Europe. More on the hoof news. The government quarantines tourists returning from Spain because Spain was a danger. Quarantines them, doesn't test them, just quarantines them. The day before, Spain had 2 COVID deaths, Britain had 114. The Transport Secretary was on holiday in Spain, so effectively trapped by his own department's decision. I'm fine with it, the guy's a fuckknuckle. Which brings us to Brexit. Love it. And a report from London School of Economics showed a WTO Brexit will permanently shrink 16 out of the UK's 24 industry sectors by up to 15% each permanently. This is something that Remainers like myself have been saying since 2016. Another pro-Brexit Tory MP with a gasp of what's to come tweeted, "My strong advice is take the opportunity to live abroad." Side note, I don't think this is in one of the points, but a study recently came out in one of the newspapers saying 30 to 35% of Britons have now moved abroad to European countries. Video's gone on for long enough, I'm not going to keep going, but we barely hit 20. Yeah, we barely hit 20, and there is still 48 left. So if you're on Facebook, definitely follow the 99%. It's quite a laugh until you realise that it's all true and we have fucked the country by voting Conservative. So, on that happy note, those were just a few of this government's epic fuck-ups. There are so many more, and it's not just with COVID-19 or with Brexit, on so many different fronts. Let's not forget, Boris Johnson at the start of the year took 2 holidays. One, when the country started to flood. Where was Corbyn? Where was Corbyn? That's right, he went down to the areas to see what he could do to help, while the man who's supposed to run the country and chair Cobra meetings in times of national panic was on holiday. Didn't come back, ran out his full holiday. Part of the reason why it was so bad is because Boris wasn't here to chair the meetings. Another reason is because the Conservatives haven't done a single goddamn thing about these flood banks. And then Boris took his second holiday of the year when the virus hit the UK proper. Again, the takeaway from this: stop voting Conservative. And if you are one of those people who sit back and say, well, look, I don't vote Conservative, I don't vote because I can't trust any of them, you're doing exactly what the Conservatives want you to do. They don't need you to vote for them. They need you to stay home. It doesn't matter who the alternative is. If they're not a Conservative, then they're probably worth voting for. You have to do the research, because when you don't, and when you vote Conservative, shit like this is just the tip of the iceberg. So stay safe, wear your goddamn mask, and I'll see you next time.